The phrase open heart, or the heart opening, is a beautiful phrase, but it's also a very dangerous one, because the mind knows how to imitate heart opening, because the experience of the heart opening is so strong. There's a strong imprint in the mind, and the bliss of the heart opening is so sweet that there's a desire for repetition of that. So be aware, as I'm sure you have discovered, that if you try to keep the heart open, you become a fake again. Because the experience of the heart opening is another experience. So it will come and go. It's a precious, sacred, holy, true experience. But it's still limited by the fact that it's an experience. It's an experience that's the natural byproduct of recognizing that the heart is open. Just in the moment of not trying to do anything, not trying to be anybody, not trying to get anything, there's a recognition of inherent openness of being. And the natural byproduct of that is wonderful. And the normal following of that is how to keep it, or pretending to keep it, or starting to mourn the loss of it. Or, let's see, I did this and this and this and this, so now we'll do it. And this is the co-opting of being by doing. This is normal, and you must have experienced it enough times to recognize it's a normal response. It's not the natural response, but it's a normal response. The truly natural response is to recognize experiences come and experiences go. And if the experience that is present in this moment is deemed less than the experience of the last moment, then experience that lessness. And you will see there is an openness to experience that and much more. This openness is not separate from the open mind, but it's nothing that the mind can do. Because when the mind is open, it's receiving. And it may be receiving karma, the results of your past actions. It may be receiving the chemical firings of your physiology. It may be receiving the psychic messages of the collective space, the individual madness. Receiving. If there is just this receiving, then the collective madness, the individual madness, the psychic space, the good news, the bad news, all just passes through. It does all just pass through. But as the mind locks on to something, it begins recreating what was just passing through, either in imitation of the good news that was passing through, or in the war against the bad news that was passing through. You feel great one moment, and you feel not so great the next moment, and maybe even wretched a few moments after that. Then you feel good one moment. Bad, good, great, wonderful, horrible, terrible, great, enlightened, ignorant, in nirvana, in samsara. So what? Well, that gets scary then. So what? Well, what? I want to feel enlightened all the time. I want to feel great all the time. That's not the nature of feelings. It's not the nature of experience. And in fact, if it were the nature of experience, you would just feel dead all the time. Because there'd be no polarity play. And we think we hate this polarity play, and we think it's the polarity play that's the enemy. But it's not the enemy. The truth is, there is no enemy. If you like war, and war is profound entertainment, you will conjure up an enemy. If you are truly ready for peace, which is the rest from entertainment, you will see the enemy is not the enemy. So the mind has its wondrous, awesome display. It is not the enemy. The mistake is in the identification with that display as reality and as something that can be made permanent. What is permanent is what the display is in. What animates the display, the whole display, not just the good part, not just the angels, but the devils too. The power of animation is the power of mind, and that power gets its power from the source of your being. And the source of your being is not separate from who you are. I mean, even who you imagine yourself to be. That power of imagination gets its power from the truth of who you are. And you can recognize yourself. You have recognized yourself. And then you tried to capture it in the mind. Isn't it wonderful? It can't be captured. It can't be captured. Isn't it wonderful? It's not neat, and measurable, and keepable. Isn't it wonderful? Who you are is free. Yes, it is, if you surrender to that. It's horrible and frustrating if you fight it.